Hey everybody, it's episode 439 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. I am Chris, with me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, 2 weeks in a row I didn't fuck up that date.
Nice.
Randomly
Nice.
in May, you'll say 2022 for some reason.
Oh, I'm gonna say 2022 in November. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's what happens. I fucked that up at least once. If I only say 2022, it'll be a win. I've been known to accidentally say 2018.
That's impressive.
Yeah, just look, man. Time stopped mattering about 5 years ago.
You're not wrong.
Now it's just you hope for the best. Speaking of hoping for the best, before we get into the agenda, I have a question for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Is Skull and Bone ever going to exist?
Absolutely not.
I mean, hopefully. I know they had just announced that it was postponed again to 2023, 2024 holiday or something like that. But, what are you doing, Ubisoft? What are you doing?
They don't know. I think that's part of the problem.
Well, it's not Assassin's Creed, so they don't care.
yeah.
And even then, Assassin's Creed's on that weird, they're not really sure what they want to do with that either.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, they're apparently...
Actually...
On top of the Skull and Bones delay, they're also apparently, doing some other, cancels of, unannounced games and things.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is just weird.
I'll have to look into what else. I actually just got a copy of Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, nice.
Around Christmas time. Yeah, a buddy of mine bought it at the discount store for $7. And it's still sealed, apparently. Or, I mean, not apparently, it is sealed. I don't know if they sealed it themselves. But, apparently he had it for free on the PlayStation Store? I don't know. He says that there are free games on there that were never free games, and I don't think Valhalla was ever free, but he downloaded a free version of it on his PlayStation, so he gave me his disc.
Does he have, the upgraded version of, PS Plus, or doesn't Ubisoft also have, a streaming thing? Or not a streaming thing, a subscription thing?
They do.
I mean, he doesn't have the subscription for Ubisoft. He might have. I don't know why he would. He doesn't really play a lot of games. He might have the upgraded version of PlayStation Now, or whatever it is. But I don't know. But he said that it was free, so he gave me his disc. Cool. I'll play it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, no reason to say no, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, I can't believe they even had the audacity to come out and delay Skull and Bones again. It's just don't say anything. Pretend like you never said it was coming out this year.
Right?
I mean, they said it was supposed to be March or April initially.
Did they even give that much detail?
I was looking up, because there is, I don't know what it is. I can't remember. But there is a game that I believe is supposed to be coming out in March that this sounds dumb. There's a game I don't know what the name of the game is that I know I'm excited for that's supposed to come out in March, but I don't know what the game is. And so I was looking up, games scheduled to release in 2023, and I think Skull and Bones is, March or April.
I'm pretty sure they said March. And so Assassin's Creed Valhalla was in the PS Plus Extra, but it's not anymore. So your friend might not have it anymore. I don't know how the PS Plus Extra stuff works.
He probably doesn't have it. It's probably just like Game Pass.
I believe so. So, yeah. He might not actually have it anymore.
Which, that's a bummer. But also, apparently that one wasn't great anyway. What was the one before that was Odyssey, right?
Yes.
People liked Odyssey. I got the impression that Valhalla, didn't really, expand on that. And it was basically no assassin stuff at all because you're just a fucking white Viking. But I could be wrong.
Did we just already hit burnout on the new style of Assassin's Creed games already?
I think so, because they went from that we well past burnout on the original style because they were releasing them yearly and they weren't making them good games at a certain point. And they took off that overarching reason to want to play the next one.
Right.
But then the new ones are just too big. They're 100-hour Ubisoft games. Nobody wants that. Because unfortunately, Ubisoft games are just a lot of empty space. Or open world Ubisoft games are a lot of empty space.
Yeah. I've heard that Valhalla was really good, but at the same time, it shouldn't have been called Assassin's Creed because there's not a lot of assassinating or stealth work in Valhalla. you're just fucking Vikings.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's apparently, like, an interesting game, but it's also too long. And, like, a lot of people that enjoyed it didn't even finish it because it was just so long that at a certain point they got their fill and just like, all right.
Yeah.
I got to be a Viking for a while.
Similar with Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's like those ones were super open and just super long. Yeah, it's wild.
But that aside, Rich, what's on the agenda?
So Cobb, I'm assuming it was Cobb, you watched the 2022 film, The Menu.
Of course it was me. When the fuck would Drew ever watch a movie that we didn't make him watch?
I mean, he watched Glass Onion last week.
That was a complete fucking fluke. That is the exception that proves the rule.
Yes, exactly.
Then I actually finally got to play SIFU, a game that I had been looking forward to for the longest time.
Is it SIFU or is it SIFU?
It's SIFU. Like
I know, I'm just fucking with you.
Well, I was gonna say, do you remember when we watched Ip Man? They called him SIFU, Master.
Honestly, no, I didn't remember that. But I recognize that word now that you've said it like that from, like, anime.
Then, Cobb, you played Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Night, which is a game I've been wanting to fucking play forever. Ever since I learned about it.
Maybe get on that shit. It was on sale, like, last week.
It was. I made the mistake of buying Monster Hunter instead of checking out the other sales. Because Monster Hunter was $12 and it was something I wanted, and it's old world Monster Hunter and I just don't want to play. And then I played Mega Man X5 on Monday, so we're going to talk about that. And then Games Done Quick is going on, or the first half of it has happened.
It's happening right now. I am watching Sonic Advance 2 on my phone as we record.
Yeah, I know nothing about this, so...
I mean, you know, a number of years ago, somebody stomped on the ground and reset a Mario 3 speedrun.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all I know about this.
Hey, man, it's something. It's something. But yeah, so I watched the movie The Menu, which is, it's on HBO. Have you guys, either of you, seen any of the trailers or anything for it? Like, do you even know what it is?
No, I did a quick Google of it while we were opening up the show to see what it was, but I didn't really read a lot. I'll be 100% honest, reading just a little bit of the synopsis, I was just like, I don't know if I like this. Like, just reading the basis of the synopsis.
It was actually really, really good. I thought it was going to be a different movie. I thought it was going to be like The Most Dangerous Game, because that's honestly what the trailers kind of made it look like, and it is not The Most Dangerous Game at all. It's actually got a really good cast. Ralph Fiennes, who was Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter, plays like a famous chef. And his restaurant is on this secluded island that all of his staff live on the island. They get all of their ingredients from the island. It is $1,200 per person to come to this restaurant. You have to take a little private boat to get there, and you have no say over the menu. Like, they bring out food, put it on the table, and that is what you're eating. You don't even know what you're eating until it's on the table. And, sorry, I swallowed wrong. There's two people that come to this thing. Nicholas Hoult, who was Beast in the the first Clash generation of X-Men, and Anya Taylor-Joy from like Queen's Gambit and a whole bunch of other stuff. And she's like a last minute date for Nicholas Hoult and has like no interest in the food and has no idea what the fuck is going on. But like as things play out, like you find out that everyone at this restaurant they have something going on that like the chef basically knows about. And he's just like psychologically fucking with everybody the entire movie. And like it's really, really good. I don't want to spoil it because it is still relatively new. But it is not what I expected it to be.
It came out last year. Come on now.
It came out September 10th.
It came out last year. So I
hate you.
It came. Am I wrong, Drew? Am I wrong?
No.
I mean, it came out last year. It did not come out a year ago.
But it still came out last year.
And also, it was November 18th is when it came out, like, officially. It was, like, at a film festival in September.
Even if it came out on December 25th or December 31st, I would still be saying it came out last year.
Yeah, because you're the worst. You're the problem with this country.
No, I'm not. I am far from it. Trust me.
You're the reason Congress couldn't decide on who the speaker was going to be.
And he still is now speaker.
I mean, it was always going to play out that way.
But he lost like 7 times.
15 times.
Yeah, he lost 15 times. You still get the job, though. But he lost 15 times.
Yeah, well, because every time he lost, he then went to the people that voted against him and promised them more bullshit.
Yeah.
That's how our government works. It is
Right.
our government for the U.S. is against the people.
Mhm.
But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. John Leguizamo was in it. He was like some sort of like random actor. I forget the actress's name, but one of the people that was on Exandria Unlimited is actually in it. Young
XU? Amy Carrero.
Yeah.
Carrera.
There you go. Thank you.
Like that.
Yeah, she is in it. Not like the grandmother mom, but like the mom from Who's the Boss is in it, which is kind of like a deep grab, but still happened. And yeah, I just like I said, I thought this was going to be like Battle Royale, like Most Dangerous Game, that like they were going to like give these people like a fancy meal, and then they were going to like set them out on the island, and like the chefs were going to hunt them.
That would be a good movie.
No, it wouldn't.
That would be an interesting
That would be
movie.
fucking terrible.
No, that would be great.
It doesn't do that, but like it does some other like things that were even better.
But like, think about it. You're hiding in the woods. You're all mudded up because it's been raining, and you just see a chef hat peeking over the bushes. Tall chef's hat. And then some dude with a French accent, because all chefs are French in movies.
No, that's not true.
Just says something.
That is not true at all. Have you never seen the Muppets?
Oh, he's Swedish. True. But just think about it. That would be a great movie. Running and hiding from the chef.
Only if it's the Swedish chef. Chef.
You know what? We can get all like famous chefs.
No. It's a movie where everyone else in the cast it's the reverse of a normal Muppets movie. Everyone else is a person, and then the Swedish chef is hunting them all. It's like that. It's like that new the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Yeah. We could go with that route. I was thinking like we could have the Swedish chef. We could have the rat from Ratatouille.
Remy would never hurt a person.
But in this alternate universe, because Winnie the Pooh would never hurt a person. In this alternate universe where all of these chef creatures are alive, boom, there we go. Now we just gotta think of like other famous like fantasy chefs.
Also, let's take a step back. Winnie the Pooh is a fucking bear. He would 100% hurt a person if a person got between him and his honey.
Winnie the Pooh is a stuffed bear. He would never.
He walks around without any pants on. He is still a bear.
He's a stuffed bear.
Says who?
He's a teddy. He's a teddy bear. He's a stuffed bear.
Since when? Really?
I'm 99% sure he's a stuffed bear.
I did not know that. I believe you. I legitimately did not know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's also part of the like. They're all not all of them, but many of them are supposed to be toys. That's why, like you got Piglet, you got fucking the donkey. Eeyore, that's why you can actually pin his tail on him. Like, they're supposed to be toys.
I don't.
Some of them.
You know what? Like, I never really watched a ton of Winnie the Pooh. I never actually realized that.
Mm-hmm.
If I did, I forgot long ago if I did realize that.
I may be absolutely wrong, but I'm pretty sure a few of them, if not all of them, are supposed to be like stuffed animals.
Also, what the fuck is Piglet?
It's a stuffed pig.
He doesn't
toy.
look like a pig.
His name is Piglet, and he's pink, and he's got a pig nose.
I mean, I guess he could be a pig, but, like, I don't know. It's just weird, because, like, he walks on two legs.
Lamb Chop doesn't look like a lamb.
Yes, it does.
Not really.
The face looks like a lamb.
Not really. The face is the furthest from a lamb.
Maybe I don't know what Lamb Chop looks like.
How do you not know what Lamb Chop looks like?
So, I just, without thinking, I typed into search Lamb Chop, thinking that would show me what I wanted to see. You know what?
Got food. You got food.
Yeah.
100% got food.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna. This does not play for anyone watching, but yeah, this is my search results. Much better than a stupid fucking puppet.
Yeah.
Hey, at least the first autofill option is puppet. I mean, that looks like a cartoon lamb to me.
But I mean, that's what Piglet would look like. It's supposed to, like a cartoon pig.
No, like so here. This is actually my contention. All of the other animals look like the animals they are. Like, Eeyore walks on four legs like a fucking donkey would. But, like, Piglet's this weird fucking abstraction.
Bears don't walk on two legs.
They can.
I mean, but they don't for extended periods.
You don't know. When have you ever fucking been around a bear?
A bear does not just naturally walk around on 2 legs.
Again, you don't know.
But you don't know pigs don't naturally walk around on 2 legs.
Pigs live on farms. We would know if pigs just walked on 2 legs. Have you ever seen a pig in real life? Pigs are not proportioned correctly to walk on 2 legs.
And I've seen bears at zoos, and they're always being lazy.
Well, yeah. Like, wouldn't you be if you were stuck in a fucking cage?
I mean,
but how often do you see the bear fucking walking around at all, let alone on its 2 legs?
Exactly. You never see it move on its 2 legs. Well, sometimes they climb up on their 2 legs to grab stuff out of branches and bushes.
Exactly.
And get super scary.
What do you
but
think
they don't
Pooh
walk.
Bear does? He's on 2 legs so he can eat honey.
He can't even reach the honey, and he's too fat, and he gets stuck in it.
Now you're just being racist.
No, I'm not.
You are.
But anyway, you got anything else about the menu?
It was legitimately really good. I didn't expect exactly what happened to happen to everybody at the end. But like I knew something bad was going to happen. But the way the one character gets out of it was just it was so funny and so much of like a fuck you to like everybody else in the room. It was great. Really enjoyed it.
It's kind of like Willy Wonka, but with professional chef.
Yeah, kind of, because everybody else dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we have no proof that any of those children survived.
Oh,
no, they're all dead.
Well, yeah, we're talking Willy Wonka. In Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we actually see them leave the chocolate factory.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, no, in the good movie, as far as we know, they are all dead.
Yeah.
Every goddamn one of them.
Also, I just posted proof of bears walking on 2 legs, so, you know.
But look how awkward that is. He's having so much trouble.
That's how you walk.
Not always. Only when I'm in pain.
You were walking like that at PAX.
Yeah, I was in pain. Always in pain.
Man, that bear is so cool, though. Look at him. He's just walking by this bus like, yeah, bitches.
Yeah, that's a fucking cool-ass bear.
That's like the
So
that is like the walk you make when you've just stolen something and you're trying not to drop it out of your coat.
Oh, that bear is totally like, nothing to see here, don't look at me, everything's cool.
Because he knows he's not supposed to be walking on 2 feet. And so he's like, oh god, I got caught, I just gotta keep going with it. And he just keeps going with it until he gets back in the forest and drops down on all 4.
You don't know that.
You know, maybe the bear's walking like that because he was like, oh shit, the fucking, there's a bus, humans are seeing me walk normally, not like people think a bear is supposed to walk like. And that's how bears really walk.
They only walk on all 4s when we see them?
Yeah.
You know, that could work. That could maybe work.
Also, Exhibit 3 for bears can walk on 2 legs. Bam.
Oh no.
I sent a picture of Yogi Bear to everybody.
That's a cartoon bear. Cartoon.
We did. So is Pooh.
I know. That's why he walks on 2 legs.
This one isn't a cartoon.
He looks like a cartoon.
You look like a cartoon.
I know I do.
Hey, as long as we're on the same page. But yeah, I would, Rich, I realize you said you don't think you would enjoy it, but it's on HBO. If you have just like time where you're not doing anything, which I know is rare-ish, you should check it out. Like it's surprisingly good. There is some good, like, funny, sarcastic humor in it too.
Okay.
But other than that, how was SIFU? I fucked up because I asked you the question as a joke, and now I don't remember how to actually say it.
It's SIFU. I know for 100% fact, Cobb, you would hate this game.
Oh, 100%. After I confirmed what it was with you earlier, I'm like, right, that game looks and sounds like it'd be neat. I would play it for 5 minutes and just fucking nope the hell out.
No, I think you would play it. You would play the first level and then learn that it is very difficult and give up. Because this game is made, like, Drew, you might actually enjoy it. It's, basically you go through each level. The level is always the same every time you play it. But, like, kind of Soulsborne-esque. Once you get to certain parts or find certain items, the next time you play it, you can actually take shortcuts and cut through the level faster. As you play through each level, you face off against different enemies. The better you do in that level, the more experience you get, and the less you die, the more likely you are to be able to get better upgrades and power-ups as you find certain things. This game is made to be played over and over. It's made to have pattern recognition. The boss. I got stuck on the second boss of the game in the second level because he's just. I can't figure out how to hit him. I can't figure out his pattern or anything like that. Hold on. I thought I heard my dog doing something. I just had to look around real quick. But it is very much a game where you kind of gotta grind a little bit. You gotta play through the first level a number of times, try to get some experience, try to level up your abilities and your skills, and then make your way onto the second level. And you also, every time you die, you have a pendant. Every time you die, your life counter goes up by 1. So the first time you die, you go from age 30 to 31, and then they add a counter to it. Then the next time you die, you go from 31 to 33, and they add 1, and then so forth. So the next one would be 33 to 36. However, defeating certain enemies will actually reduce that counter, so it might bring you from 3 to 2, so that when you die again, it only adds 2 instead of adding 3. Every 10 years, a coin of the amulet breaks. You cannot get younger. Obviously, can't get younger than that age, and you also lose access to upgrading abilities at that age level. So if you go from 30 to 40, at the very bottom of your ability upgrades and experience upgrades, you cannot buy those anymore. You still can use them, but you cannot buy them. If you were to restart the level, say restart level 1, you would start back at 30 years old. You would not have anything you purchased unless you upgraded it 5 times to where then you permanently unlock it every time.
Oh, so like part of like the gameplay loop is get far enough that you can permanently upgrade something so that when you do have to cycle all the way back, you aren't starting at 0 again.
Yes and no, because the cool thing is, and this is not something I knew about like the permanent upgrade system and everything. The cool thing is that is 5 upgrades throughout your playthrough. So you can get to the very end of the game and then restart at 30. If you upgraded something once, that still has that one upgrade. It's just unlocked and you can't use it. You have to unlock it again to have that second unlock to use it during that run. And then if you upgrade it or unlock it, not really upgrade it, unlock it 3 more times, then it's permanently unlocked. But if you restart over and over and over, you can consistently just do 5, like by the end of that run, have all of the upgrades or have all of the unlock purchased so that when you restart it would be permanently no matter what, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize that was the...
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Like, I also didn't know that, like, the older you get, the less access to certain abilities you have. Like, I knew that the older you got, like, the older you get a little bit more powerful, you get a little bit slower, you lose health, but, like, you're wiser, so, like, you're more powerful, your hits do more, because you're, even when you're a 70-year-old man, you're hitting harder than when you were, like, 40, maybe, I think actually at some point, it might drop your strength. I don't really know, I haven't noticed or paid attention to, but it is a very technical game. It's all about, like, guarding and parrying and hitting at the right time. It is, I went into it thinking this is going to be kind of fast-paced, and, like, I fucked up my first run on the first level to where I beat it at, like, 60, and I had to restart my first run again, or the first level run. I ran the first level 4 times in that stream, one of them just as an experience run.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah. And as you go throughout the levels, you actually find and pick up items that either affect the level you're at, help you, like, with your, quote, investigation and understand what's going on in that area, but also you pick up items that you can use in different areas as well. I have a key card for an area that I get to later on, and there's a door that it's locked in level 1 that I don't have the key for, and I've ran all over the map 3 times trying to find this key, and I cannot find it, which means it's somewhere else.
Oh, wait, so it's not just a fighting game?
No,
fighting game is reductive to it, but, like, I thought it was just a, like...
Remember the bouncer?
Yeah.
For PlayStation 2? I guess the best way is to liken it to that. There is an adventure style to it, but it is primarily combat. Like, when enemies come up to you, you get into the battle stance, but after you defeat all the enemies, you can freely run around and explore and check things out.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a 3D beat 'em up.
Yeah. It's super fun. I like it. I'm still really bad at it. I gotta get better at it. I gotta remember to, like, use different combos that I've unlocked. I gotta remember to, like, use different abilities that I have that I wasn't using because, like, I am bad at fighting games, so I'm bad at this game. And it's like some of the better ability, like if I were to hit up, Y, we'll do a different attack that might knock them out, might stun them or something like that. Or up, down, Y is doing a swiping attack that knocks them onto the floor. Like, I have to remember to do more of those rather than just run in and beat them up. And, like, I play so fast and so rapidly that there are times that it's just like there's nothing I can do because I'm not like slowing down and waiting for them to come at me to dodge or to parry or whatever. And like my parry skill is not good. I'm terrible at parrying.
Parrying is hard.
It is. And like they give you time. They never put you up against, like, it's very action movie where the hero, they are surrounded by 5 enemies, but only 1 enemy at a time is attacked. They do that very well. You're always fighting against 1 or 2 enemies at most. There's never more than that. Like, sometimes I'll be fighting against one where another one's coming at my back, but that's usually a quick tap the guard/parry button to guard that, or even turn around and nut punch them or something like that to get them before they get you, and then go back to the enemy you were beating the shit out of. Can
you do the Johnny Cage, like, split punch somebody in the dick move?
No, probably not. I haven't unlocked it if you can, but probably not. The first level opens up, not opens up to, but like midway through the first level, you get a, essentially a Daredevil hallway scene.
Oh, nice.
But instead of being behind the back, it actually moves the camera to the side, pretty much makes it a 3D side-scroller instead of like a behind-the-back third-person camera angle. Which was actually really cool that they did that. And it's a stationary camera for that entire sequence. I need to cut, my second or third run of that. I think it was my probably third run of that. I did really good. I think I got through it without getting hurt or anything. And it was just like very stylish and very cool. Then I gotta take that off, or clip that out and put together some sort of TikTok or something for it. But it was like really, it's super fun. But, like I said, I know you, Cobb, at least, you would hate this game because it's trial and error. It's doing the same thing over and over just to try to get better, just to try to pattern recognize and learn how to actually defeat these bosses.
Yeah, I only enjoy that in platforming.
It is very much in a sense of, like, a Soulsborne-esque style, like, try it, die, come back. If you're lucky, maybe you can kill the boss after dying a few times, but like the second boss, I could get to the second boss. Let's see, I think the best I've gotten so far for boss number 2 was probably getting to them at 50. And if you become 70 years or older, the last gem breaks. So that's 20 years that I had in some form. Probably about 4 or 5 deaths that I took. From 50 to 74, I think, was how old I was when I died.
Real quick, reading through IGN review, there is a duck and groin punch.
Nice.
So,
all right. I have not unlocked it yet.
So it's maybe not a split, but there is a dodge and punch in the groin move in it.
Yeah. And so that's the cool thing about it, is like there's all these different technical moves and techniques that you can unlock. You just have to pay for them, and it's like, if you're only doing one level at a time, it's going to be a slow upgrade. But if you're able to do a full run, you might be able to upgrade a good number of them a few times throughout the run. Your upgrades don't necessarily make your ability stronger every time you get them, but it will make the game technically easier, because if you restart your run at level 1 and you have 4 or 5 different combos unlocked permanently, then you can use those right from the get-go and maybe make your fights last shorter and clear enemies and even bosses without dying, so that when you get to level 5 or 6, you're still in your 30s.
So, you said before, it's 10 years every time you go up, or is it 5?
What do you mean?
Like, because like every time that like you have to age yourself up, like, isn't it like a set increment? Or did I mishear that?
Every time you die, there is an increment. So the first time you die, it's set to 1. you add 1 year to your life when you die.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood earlier.
That number goes up to 2. So then the next time you die, you add 2 years to your life. And then that 2 becomes a 3, and then the next time you die adds 3 years. There are enemies that you fight throughout the levels that you can actually lower that number of years. So you could, essentially, every time you die, just only gain 1 year. Essentially. But you have to be really good. Or you could just do your best to not die. One thing that was a little, misrepresented...
I have to step away for just a second, but keep going.
Yeah. One thing that was a little misrepresented in, like, in the trailers and things that I've seen, and, well, not really trailers, but, in, like before you buys and first looks, is a lot of people said you can't upgrade your abilities until you die. That is false. There are jade dragons spread throughout the levels that you can get to and purchase one of 9 upgrades depending on your situation. So if you are under a certain age, you can buy one of 3 upgrades. So it's like 35. If you're under 35, you have better durability. If you're under 40, you can better durability in weapons. If you're under 40, you have better something else. And if you're under 60, you have better something else. And those each have 3 points that you can put into each of them. So if you go over 35, you can't increase the durability of a weapon ever again. Then in the middle, you get scored as you play through the level. Based on your score, you can get one of these upgrades, and there's 3 in there. It's like better, like heal. Healing was with age. It would be like different things with your poison focus meters, basically. And then the last one is if you have X amount of experience, you can spend the experience to buy these upgrades. Then also, while in that Jade Dragon, you can upgrade your character with normal experience as well, outside of having had died. So you don't have to die in order to upgrade. But I remember seeing a few videos say, like, you have to die to upgrade. And it's a little misrepresented. You can upgrade when you die. You can also upgrade at other times.
Yeah, it's a shame that game is just not for me. Because, like, it is super interesting, like, the whole concept. But you're right. Like, I would just get not even so much frustrated. Like, I just wouldn't have fun with it, and I would just stop playing.
Yeah. So I played that on Sunday, and I jumped on stream about 5:30ish. I wanted to jump on stream a lot earlier, but I jumped on stream about 5:36ish, with the intention of playing till about 10 or 11. And after about 2.5 hours, I was like, all right, I gotta stop. I gotta stop, because I'm just doing the same level over and over and over, and it is getting frustrating. And so, like, this is not a long run game. Like, you pick this up when you have some time. This is definitely going to be, like, in my opinion, in my opinion, if handheld consoles were better, this would be a perfect handheld game. Because you play a 20-minute run, for a level, and then you go do something else. Like, this is a game that, like, you pick up when you have a few minutes here or there to try a run, and then walk away.
So are you not going to be dedicating a bunch of streams to it?
No, it'll be, every Thursday right now is dedicated to SIFU. Until I beat the Mega Man X games, every Thursday and probably occasionally on Sundays will be SIFU. Then once I beat the X series, it'll be every stream except for Tuesdays will be to SIFU until we beat it, and then we'll get into the other games that I want to play. Tales of Arise is definitely the next one, and there's a bunch of games that I want to play.
That is the unfortunate way of the world.
Yeah, there's so many games, like the Jedi game, Last Order or whatever. Fallen Order, that's it. Fallen Order is free on PlayStation Plus this month, and I'm like, all right, I got to get that because I've been wanting to play that. The new one comes out later this year. I'm waiting for God of War to go on sale so I can buy that and play that. I just got Tales of Arise, which is the next game I'm going to dedicate time into after I beat the X games and SIFU. When Ender Lilies goes on sale, I'm going to grab that. I'm sure there's plenty of PlayStation Plus games that I've downloaded over the course of the last 2 to 3 years that I'm like, I want to play this, I want to play that, I want to get this, I want to get that. There's just so much. There's just so many games that I want to play right now. And it's like right now, like I'm not upset that put myself with the Mega Man X5 marathon, but like I don't want to start anything serious like say an RPG like Tales of Arise and still take a break every Monday to play Mega Man X to play that. It's like if I'm gonna play a long game like an RPG, that's gonna be the only game I play for however long it takes me to beat.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, but you guys should definitely check out SIFU. I love the art style. The art style is like this cool, like kind of cartoony, cel-shaded, but also dark and gritty version of cel-shading. It's hard to explain. I can't really think of anything else that's looked like this. But I absolutely love how the game looks. Come watch me play SIFU. Generally on Thursdays, twitch.tv/b_walnuts. And maybe on Sundays, and whenever I have a chance. Come watch me play SIFU. Watch me be bad at SIFU.
I mean, why don't you just get good?
I'm trying. This is a practice game. This is 100% a game you need to practice on.
You know what you should do? Like, you should practice on the side and then just get onto stream one day and just be fucking awesome.
No, because, see, if I'm practicing on the side, then I'm also advancing the game and the story and the experience gain and whatnot. I'm not just going to sit there and practice and not contribute my experience points to anything. No, I'm not going to do that. So this is totally like a game that I have to sit there and I have to learn. I have to recognize myself that I have to slow down. Because I have been playing a lot of games that are, like, faster paced lately. And, like, I've just been rapid at it. And so, like, I need to just slow down and take a beat when I'm getting into some of these fight encounters.
That is valid. That is entirely valid.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about SIFU, though?
No, it's great. Just check it out.
Real quick, did you play Absolver at all, Walnut?
I don't believe I did. I believe I do have it. I think it was free on PS Plus.
It was.
Which I do have. I do remember this is one of the games that I did download, I think. But no, I don't think I played it. I think I have it.
Okay, because I was just curious how it compared, or if you had played it, if you could have told how they've progressed in their combat skills. Because, like, I played a bit of Absolver and got kind of bored with how it played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I've never played Absolver, I don't think. I'm actually looking up to see if I have it on PlayStation. Looks like I do have it. It's just saying PlayStation Store game. Downloaded console. Yeah, so I did redeem it, but I never actually downloaded it and played it. Maybe that's something I could do if after SIFU, or between SIFU, or between Mega Man and Tales of Arise, is try Absolver and see how the two compare.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see that company's progression.
Mm-hmm.
Or just start streaming 5 days or 6 days a week every week, and you can just play everything.
I can't do that.
You did 7 days a week for a while there. You could do it.
I did 30 days in a row, and let me tell you, that was rough.
Didn't you do like 42 days in a row back over the summer?
Whatever, it was something like that. It was like 30 or 40 something days in a row. Because it was after my, what I did was I capped my subathon at 24 hours, and any sub that I got post 24 was one additional day that I would have to do a normal 2 to 3 hour stream following the subathon. So, following the day after the subathon, because my subathon was Saturday into Sunday. I slept and did not stream that Sunday, and then started the marathon on Monday. And it was for, I think we ended the subathon with 58, something like that. I don't remember. Maybe like 62. I think it was like about 30 to 32 days, 30 to 40 days. I can't remember, but by the end of that, I was like, I can't do it. And then anytime I stream more than maybe 5 days a week, I go out of it. Like, I'm just like, I don't, when it came to like Pokemon, I think I streamed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then that Wednesday we recorded, and then I streamed that Thursday, and then that following Friday and Saturday, I was just like, I so need this break.
Well, I mean, that's because you were streaming Pokemon.
Maybe.
But did
I was also doing.
You didn't take any days off in October, did you?
No, yeah, I did.
Oh, for some reason I thought you ended up having to go straight through because of Oh no, because you took the days off around New York Comic Con. That's right. I took the, I was at Comic-Con on Saturday and Sunday, so I took those 2 days off. I believe I streamed on Friday before, the Monday after, but it was generally, if I beat a game, I took the next day off.
Or no, I that was the plan, was like play a game straight through until we beat it. So every day until we beat it, and then take a day off, and then go into the next one. But it ended up just being that, like, I stuck with my normal schedule of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like, sometimes I did, like, extra, but I always took off at least on Wednesday. And, like, some of those days that I did longer, or I almost always took off on Wednesday, I did stream the end of Resident Evil 5 on a Wednesday. But besides that, like, generally, if it was, like, I did have at least a 1 day break every week. 1 or 2 day break every week with that.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought, like, in my head, you had done every day because you had that bad go of 0 right away and, like, got yourself behind a day, like, right off the bat.
I mean, I did technically get myself behind, but I redeemed it that day. So I had figured 2 days for 0. And it technically took me 2 days to beat 0. Technically, it only took me 1 day to beat 0, but it took me 2 days to beat 0.
Oh, okay, so I thought that you had scheduled it where it was every playthrough of a game was 1 day. So, like, when you got to 2, it was going to be 2 days, but it was like 1 day Claire, 1 day Leon sort of thing.
No, some of those games are way too long to sit for one. You really think 1 playthrough and 1 sitting for Resident Evil 6?
Well, no, like, I knew you accounted for that stuff too, but I was talking more like the earlier games.
No, like, Resident Evil 1 took me 2 sessions.
Well, that's just pitiful.
It is, because I played it on easy mode inadvertently.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm so fucking mad about that, but who cares?
You just have to do all the Resident Evil games again next year to make up for it.
It still took 10 bullets to kill a fucking zombie. So, like, it still took a lot of ammo to kill a zombie. So it doesn't matter.
So next year, 30 days of Resident Evil 6.
No, I've been trying to figure out what I want to do for next year, or this year, or for this upcoming October. I don't know what I want to do yet. I want to do some actual legit scary games. I might not do another, like, pseudo marathon like that. I might do something else. 'Cause I have a couple of other potential series marathons planned over the course of the next couple of months that, like, I don't want to dedicate an entire month to a series marathon at this point.
That's valid. I can understand that. You guys ready to move on, though? Sure.
Tell us about the Metroidvania Ender Lilies Quietus.
It's cool. I like it so far. It is very hard, though. I thought it was more Metroidvania than it is, at least early on. It's got a little bit more of like a Souls feel going on. Kind of like what was that game that you liked a whole lot?
Hollow Knight.
Yeah, kind of like that a little bit.
It absolutely is more. It's more similar to Hollow Knight than it would be like a general Metroid game or Metroidvania. Like, it does have that Souls style. It is a harder game with boss pattern recognition and shit like that, for sure.
Yeah, and it's especially like when you die, you get taken back to like a bench that is your save point, and anytime that you go to a save point, it heals you, but then it also resurrects anything that you've beaten.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're only moving forward, it's not a big deal, but if you're like backtracking or anything like that, it can, fuck your day up depending on like what was there.
It's a Metroidvania. You're always backtracking.
That's true.
Even when you're moving forward, you're still backtracking.
Yeah, I've only played about I don't know, maybe an hour, if that.
Mm-hmm.
I got it on the Steam Deck, which was it's a good place to play it. It plays very well on there.
You don't have to say you got it on Steam Deck. You can just say you got it on Steam.
No, it's on the Steam Deck.
You got it on Steam.
No, I got it on.
Because
it is on the Steam Deck.
It is on. You are playing it on the Steam Deck, but you could also play it on your PC if you want to.
But I'm not a fucking nerd.
I'd argue you're more nerdy. You have a fucking Steam Deck.
Yeah. You have a Steam Deck.
Man, PCs are for QuickBooks.
No.
And Excel
Steam
spreadsheets.
Decks are for nerds.
Nerd.
That's fine. But no, it is verified great on Steam Deck. It's got the little green check mark.
Nice.
But yeah, it's neat so far. It does. So, do you guys know anything about like the sort of like the framing of it at all?
This is literally the first I've ever heard of this game.
Oh, you never heard of Ender Lilies Quietus of the Night?
Absolutely the fuck not.
It's a newer game. It came out in 2022. I think,
Nope,
like,
it came out in 2021.
Yeah,
Really?
it came
I
out
thought
the
it was
beginning of 2021.
Fucking 2 years old.
But it is. I know, like, you fight with spirits, kind of like a Persona-esque type thing, but like your weapons are spirits.
That's kind of a good analogy. Yeah. So like you wake up, you are the last priestess or something like that, but you have no memory, and you're guided, protected, whatever, by the spirit of this man with a big sword. Haven't figured out what he is yet. I may have missed that text because I got distracted at the very beginning of the game. But then as you're playing, like all the enemies are like basically corrupted things from the world. And as you beat bosses, those bosses will then, they're cleansed essentially, and they become like additional weapons that you can use. So you get thrown up against the boss like right away. And it's this like nun looking woman in like a tattered nun outfit. And she's got a like a ball and chain that she swings around and like will smash, or, you know, couple different types of attacks. And then once you get her health bar down, she goes into a second form that is like a giant monster that has a different pattern of attacks. But once you beat that one, she's cleansed and then becomes like a new weapon you can equip. Only that weapon has a finite amount of uses. So like I think I have 13 times I can use it, and it's almost more of like an auto attack when you use that. Like you bind it to one of your buttons, you hit it, the nun thing comes out, she spins the flail around and will like knock any enemies away from you that are nearby, and then will go away. Meanwhile, you can use your normal attack, which is the swordman spirit, to fight anything that is still near you. If you use the flail or the ball and chain 13 times, you then have to go to either a bench to heal, or there are two types of flowers that you find in the world, red ones and white ones. Red ones will give you back one of those uses if you've used one, and then the white flowers give you back. You can pray, and praying will restore your health up to a certain point, and you can at the beginning of the game, it restores 70 hit points, and then as you progress, you can like have it restore more. But the white flowers, if you've prayed, will give you back one pray time without having to go to a bench. And just at the beginning of the game, you can pray 3 times, so you can heal yourself for 70 damage 3 times. And it comes in handy against that first boss, because like you are learning how to fucking like dodge and roll and shit, and figuring out what you can and can't like dodge roll through. You know, you're gonna get fucking hit a few times.
It's very similar to, it seems like, at least very similar to a Hollow Knight, like with the praying and heal and everything else. Like it is very similar.
Yeah, the thing that it hasn't done yet that I kind of like didn't enjoy about Hollow Knight was the weird openness that Hollow Knight ended up having, in my opinion. This one has still been kind of linear.
You're only an hour in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be absolutely open.
We don't know that.
It's a Metroidvania.
I'm so open and backtracky in my mind are two different things. I thought Hollow Knight just had too many paths to take, if that makes sense. I'm not explaining this super well.
No, because like when you say you feel like Hollow Knight had too many paths to take, when I think about it, I'm like, but so did Metroid Dread. Like Metroid Dread had they actually directed you a lot, but there were multiple paths you could take. Even when they were directing, you could go multiple ways. That's
true. I think what it was with like Metroid Dread and most Metroid games is it's open, but they do kind of like point you in a direction. And I'm not a big open world explorer person. Like I want the option, but I also want to know where to go, so that like when I'm bored of that shit, I can just head to the next point. And I feel like Hollow Knight was just kind of like stumble around until like the game kind of tells you you've done something.
Well, yeah, because Hollow Knight is like you don't actually get story information until you get to the city, and that could be anywhere between like 2 and 10 hours into the game, depending on how long it takes you to get into the city, and then to learn where the sleepers are and have to find them, and then finding all the abilities and stuff that you might want. Like, you don't have to have all the abilities to beat the game.
That's true. And like, for what it's worth, like, while I didn't really like click with Hollow Knight, the combat was very good in it. Cause like, while I don't have the fucking frustration levels for like Souls games with the 3D stuff, I'm fine with like the 2D-ness ones because it's just a little more like straightforward. It's like watch the pattern and learn how to fucking dodge. And
Yeah.
I can't do that in 3D apparently.
No, you can't. You're bad at it.
I am.
You don't like 3D combat. I've learned this.
Yeah,
Any
you know
game
what?
that has legit 3D combat. That's why, like, I was playing SIFU, and I was just like, Cobb would hate this. 100% hate this. Just because it's 3D combat.
Yeah, I guess
It's
that's
good 3D combat, but you would hate it.
I mean, let's not get too far saying good. You like Monster Hunter combat, so
You did not like the combat in Breath of the Wild.
that's true. But like, it's also not good combat.
It's very good combat.
I don't know that anyone would agree with you.
I don't know that anyone would agree with you.
I'm sure everyone agrees with me.
No.
And to be fair, like the Zelda combat's just kind of like it's very just bland. Like the biggest thing with the Zelda combat is your shit breaks. But that's that's Zelda combat though. Like,
but no, like you told me like that you would purposely avoid fights because you did not like combat.
yeah, that game was not fun to do. Zelda games in general are not fun for combat. Zelda games are for exploration and puzzles. That game was missing puzzles.
Yeah, I was going to say, has any Zelda 3D game, has any Zelda game had satisfying
No Zelda
combat?
game has ever had good combat. They've had varying levels of like okay combat, but yeah, no, none of them are good at combat. They're good at puzzles and dungeons.
You're gonna hate my answer to that question. Fucking Skyward Sword had very fun combat. Only Wii version though.
Actually, you know what? Skyward Sword had the most robust combat, I guess you would say.
The Wii I don't know about the Switch version of Skyward Sword and how satisfying that may be because you have to use the control stick. But the Wii version of Skyward Sword combat was very satisfying. After dying against the final Ganon 100 times and Googling how to figure it out, and it's like, oh, this is what you got to do, and then learning it, it was just so satisfying to actually be able to do the first thing you needed to do in order to hurt him. It was just so fun. Like, the whole game was fun. Like, I loved Skyward Sword.
I fell off of it. Like, it wasn't as bad as people always say it is.
People said it was bad because it was on the Wii. That's the only reason they said it was bad.
So, I don't think that game was as good on the Wii as the remaster probably is because the Wii controls were notoriously like janky for people.
I had no problem with the controls. People did not like motion controls. That is it.
I mean,
that is why people didn't like it.
They were usually bad.
This one had the Wii Motion Plus, which actually really helped with the motion control system, and it was very good.
Man, that game didn't even run right when Miyamoto tried to demo it.
I don't remember that.
He got on stage at an E3 and the fucking Wiimotes wouldn't work right.
Oh yeah, it was Wiimotes weren't connecting or whatever, right? Or something like that.
I forget exactly what it is. It was a joke. But yeah, like I could see that Skyward Sword combat being more like interesting on the Wiimotes. I think everything else on the Wiimotes would have just been a little more frustrating. The combat not as great on the control sticks because you do use like the analog sticks.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff you're expected to do is incredibly hard to like do with those analog sticks.
They need to add a bullet time to that game in order to help you do that stuff.
Well,
because some of the combat is very rapid.
And there are certain things where you have to make very specific motions that like while it looks like it should be simple on the control stick, it's not because the game doesn't always pick up like the right starting point.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember there's like I only half remember this, but there's like a character that sort of like follows you around in the beginning of the game and like wants you to like work with them, I think. And after you beat one of the dungeons, they attack you. And they do like the attacks where they like shoot like strips of things at you and you're supposed to swipe at them in like the direction that they're flying at you. Does that ring a bell?
Not really, but kind of, because like it seems like a lot of other different kind of combat scenarios like that.
Yeah,
like there were little spider enemies that were just big circles that had to slash across them in a certain way. You had to slash them in that certain area in order to hurt them. If you tried to hit them anywhere else, you would bounce off them.
Yeah, and like stuff like that, like when it's a single enemy and it's one direction, you can kind of like line yourself up and do it. If it's like a more frantic, like a boss fight or anything like that, it was very hard to like get those exact movements with a analog stick. Yeah. But I could see that stuff actually being interesting on the Wiimote.
But when it comes to Breath of the Wild had some very satisfying combat. Very satisfying.
Hard disagree.
It's fine. You can be wrong. You can be wrong.
The Ender Lilies combat is fun so far, though. It's
Mhm.
I don't have a lot to do yet because I have my basic attack and then the ball and chain. But like the being able to like dodge through things and like just trying to like set yourself up to attack people. Like there's these like slug things that do a little bit of a like a charge attack on you when they notice you. And where I'm at early in the game, there are like pit areas where they're like all on the bottom of it. And trying to like lure them to one side so you can then like dodge roll through them onto the other side and attack them without getting hit is kind of like an interesting little challenge. Like it's not hard, but it just makes you like try a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have up to 3 abilities assigned at one time. But in 2 different like sets. So the right bumper will switch between 2 sets of your face buttons. So the A button on like an Xbox controller or the X button for PlayStation would be your jump button all the time. And then the other 3 are the ones that you can assign to attacks. What would be square or X on Xbox is like it defaults for the sword attack. And the other 2 are where you can drop like the abilities you get from enemies. And you can have 2 different setups of those depending on like what you're doing and just quick swap between them as you're playing. So you could swap to one that has the ball and chain, use that real quick, and then immediately swap to one that has a different set of abilities so that you can maybe there's like range attacks. I'm assuming there's a range attack at some point with like a bow and arrow or magic or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I don't really know a lot of what's available in that game, but I'm sure there.
Yeah, like there are already normal enemies that have flaming bows and arrows. So like I have to imagine at some point there's going to be a boss fight that uses something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been cool so far. I don't think I mentioned it last week. Because of the winter sale and like I hadn't really done much on the Steam Deck, I grabbed like a handful of games and that was one of them. There's still a few other ones that I plan on like checking out. Like I grabbed Gotham Knights and the Ghostbusters remaster and shit like that.
Nice.
Yeah. But do you want to talk about your experience with Mega Man X5?
God, do I want to talk about Mega Man X5? All
right, well, we're going to wrap it up there for this week then.
That honestly, I'm fighting to not say it, but I'm also fighting to say it. I kind of want to call that the number 1 X game, if not the number 1 Mega Man ever made.
No, the number 1 Mega Man ever made is Mega Man 2.
No, have you played Mega Man X5?
Probably like 20 years ago.
Look, it was so. For anyone who doesn't know about Mega Man X5, this was actually supposed to be the actual ending of the X games. There was supposed to be no more Mega Man X games after X5. But then Capcom wanted money, and X5 was super successful. So they created, and were in production both at the same time, Mega Man 0 and Mega Man X6. And so, like, the stories of, like, X6, like, ends up being, even though, like, throughout, at the very end of X5, they're like, oh, it's 3 years later. But, like, I think I heard X6 is, like, 3 weeks after the end of X5 or something. I can't 100% remember when I was reading that. But X5 took reference and made reference to so many Mega Man games, so many X games. One of the Wily stage, or these are the 0 stages in this one. One of the 0 stages bosses was the Blob monster from Mega Man 1. A lot of the levels reused certain tunes from previous both Mega Man and Mega Man X game. The lightning ability in this one was a reference to the lightning ability in the first Mega Man game, where it had the 3 shots. And like, they just did a bunch of stuff like that. And they even, like, this was the first game where they, like, did callbacks to previous Mega Man X games. Like, one of the bosses you fought was an octopus in one of the other X games. Where you go up and face against, was it the whale? Or no, it was the squid. You go up and face the squid, and if X talks to the squid, he's like, I'm sorry I killed the octopus. He's like, this has nothing to do with it. You did your job. I'm not mad at you about it. It was really cool. One of, like, the biggest downfalls about this game is there's so much dialogue, and this started the era of holding players' hands. So, the Mega Man X games from 1 through 4 were really good at teaching you that you could do things by having you do them to learn them. So at the very beginning of Mega Man X, you walk to a spot and you drop down a hole and there's no way out. They don't tell you that you can wall climb, but you end up jumping towards the wall and finding out that you can wall climb and wall jump. But in X5, there are so many parts of like, hey, here's how you do this, and then you walk a few steps. Now, what you need to do is this, and then you do it, and then they don't bother you anymore after that about that certain kind of scenario. But they had a lot of cutting into the game to have the NPCs be like, hey, just so you know, this is how you get through this part. And that was like the one thing that I really didn't like about this game. But besides that, it was overall one of the more fun X games that I've played. If not the more fun Mega Man games in general that I've played since I did the Mega Man marathon back the beginning of last year.
So this is the one that Zero dies, right?
Yes, this is the one that Zero dies, and you have limited time. There's 3 endings. There's an ending if you beat it as Zero. There's an ending if you beat it. There's a good ending if you beat it as Mega Man, and a bad ending. In order to beat it as Zero, you need to clear the level bosses before like a timer runs out, and the timer is showing how long until a spaceport falls to Earth. If you don't beat the 8 bosses before that spaceport falls to Earth, you lose access to Zero, and you get the bad ending no matter what. If you stop that from landing to Earth and you beat the game with Zero, you get one ending, but if you beat the game with X, you get the actual true ending of the game. All 3 endings, Zero still dies, but there's like just different, it plays out differently. I think Zero's ending, he still dies. Yeah, you just get a different perspective of the ending of him, even with him dying.
And then in the next one is the one where X just has Zero's sword as an available weapon, right?
Yes, if you got the good ending, you see that X took Zero's sword at the very end, like after Zero died. He took his sword as a memorial of Zero.
I know. Do you know, does Zero come back in 6, or is it 7 that he comes back?
He comes back in 7. So Zero is still dead in 6. You probably do so, because I remember watching Eric play, and you deal with the Zero virus still.
Right,
and,
yeah.
I think you do something that brings him back from 6 to 7, and then from what I'm hearing from a lot of people, 7 is the absolute worst of these games. And then I haven't really heard anything about 8. I haven't heard anything good or bad about 8, so...
I keep forgetting there is an 8. In my head, even though we've talked about it already, 7 is just where it ends.
Yeah, there's an 8. And then there's the ZX series, the Zero series, which apparently takes place like 300 years after the end of the X series or something like that. I don't know.
Isn't there a Mega Man Zero
like
and then there's also ZX?
Well, I don't really know. I know there's Zero. Like, let me actually look at it. It's on my wish list. It's probably not on. I should not have it set on sale. No, not Mega Man.
Yeah, so there's 0, 02, 03, and 04.
Yeah. So it's the ZX collection because it's part of the X universe, but it's the Zero games. And they're different. They're not like normal Mega Man games. They're kind of, I feel like they're kind of like Metroidvania-esque or open,
okay.
If I remember. Like,
no, Rich,
I don't
there
100% remember.
There are 2 different series. There is Mega Man ZX, which, like you said, takes place 200 years later. There's also Mega Man Zero, which there are 4 of those.
That's the ZX collection.
So ZX collection has both of them?
Mega Man Zero / ZX Legacy Collection, Mega Man
okay.
0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent.
Okay. I was just making sure that, like, I didn't know there was a collection that had all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, so, I didn't realize Zero was an Inti Creates game.
I guess so. I don't know. I didn't know either. But like the Zero games are different than just the regular Mega Man games. Yeah. Or than the X games. I don't know anything about the ZX games. I have no idea what the ZX games are. But I know like
they were DS games apparently.
But like I know like Zero was a GBA game. The first Zero game. I think it was GBA. I can't remember.
It was.
But with Mega Man X5, it has the most story in like, or at least the most dialogue, which gives it the most story. It explains to you what's going on. It has the most references to every other game, and overall it was just super fun to play. The levels weren't too long, but also weren't too easy, but also weren't too hard either. Like, it was just the perfect balance of how a Mega Man level should be. Like, some of those levels you could get through within a minute or two without even speedrunning. You could get through very quickly. The stage layout and design was so much better than, like, say, 3, which just fuck 3. It wasn't as cringe as Mega Man X4 with all the voice acting in X4. And I loved it. I wish I played through it with Zero, because I love Zero. I love me an edgy swordsman, but I wanted the true ending, so I played it all as X, because everyone is like arguing over how to get the right endings. Because it's like, a lot of people say, oh, it's just random what ending you get. And then there's other people who's like, well, no, in order to make sure you get at least the good ending with Zero, you need to do this first. You need to save you need to kill all the robot masters first and stop the thing from landing. But then there's other people who's just like, no, it just doesn't matter. And others are like, if Zero dies, then if you have Zero die while you're playing as him, then you lose access to Zero and you get the bad ending. And so it's just like, I was like, I'm afraid to play as Zero because I don't want to lose him. Because in this one, in Mega Man X3, you could jump in as Zero throughout the level. And then you could play as Zero until you either dismiss him or he dies. Once he dies, you can't use him at all for the rest of the game. If you dismiss him, you can bring him back the next time you go into a level.
Wait, that was 3, not 4?
That was 3. In 4, you pick who you start as and play as through the entire game, either X or Zero.
Right, because you played 5. Sorry, I got my numbers mixed up. I forgot we were talking about 5 originally.
Yeah, and then 5 is when you just pick a level, you can pick Mega Man or him in any of his armors. You can do Mega Man X normally, or Mega Man X in any of his suit of armors that you have unlocked, or Zero. And then, I guess, Zero in his black suit Zero. You can choose which one to go into each level. Which is just, I was like, that is how these games probably should have been. You should have been able to just pick each level. Because this way, if you're having a tough time with one character, or with one set of armor, you can switch to a different character, a set of armor, and stuff like that. They had 3 armors, technically 4 armors for X in this game. I guess you start with it normally no matter what, but you have the power armor from X4 in X5 from the get-go. I thought it was maybe because I beat it or I had it in a save that I had access to the armor, but from what I'm reading, you just have it right away no matter what.
Yeah, I think those games are just old enough that they didn't do the, like, oh, we recognize that you had this in a save, so we'll let you have it.
I feel like between 4 and 5 they could have done that because those were on the PlayStation.
I mean, they could have, but I don't think anyone really knew how to do that sort of thing yet. And
then he had the Valkyrie armor, which gives you a flight ability. So instead of being able to dash while in the air, you double tap jump and he just flies, which was really cool. And then you have the Gaia armor, which you can run on spikes. So, I was happy about that because fuck spikes in video games.
There was also the option to just get better about spikes.
I mean, maybe, but luckily there's a boss in the Zero stages that, you have to kill a certain part of that boss very quickly, otherwise they start sending spikes out in the wall, and it's a very conjoined, very small area of space that you can fight this boss in. So, I used the Gaia armor there and didn't have to worry about the spikes, which was nice. But the thing that you lose, the thing you lose access to with the Gaia armor though, is you don't have access to any of your abilities. None of the robot master abilities. It's just his Buster, a charge shot, and a Gaia special attack. That's it, which was neat. And then if you go into the second to last stage with no armor on, and then drop down a hole, you find another capsule where you get the ultimate armor. The worst part about this game is the only way to equip an armor after you unlock it fully is to beat the level or die. They don't put it on you when you get it. So, when you get the ultimate armor, that's the best way to fight the boss in that level, which is Zero, is to use the ultimate armor's ability. He's not weak to anything except that. So, you can either fight him, which I went after him, and I got a game over, Or you can select the ultimate armor and you can purposely die and get the ultimate armor and fight it. Which, when I got game over, I went to screen select and chose the ultimate armor. It's great. That ultimate armor made Zero so easy, because the ability for the ultimate armor is like a dash attack that you do that like does a lot of damage if you dash through the enemy, or if you just hit the enemy with the aura that surrounds you when you do this dash attack. And so when you're fighting both Zero and both forms of Sigma, you're really just going from side to side of the level, doing the special attack and taking down a large portion of their health every time you do it. It made it so easy. The only thing that really doesn't make sense is a lot is why there was the boss rush, because the bosses weren't directly working for Sigma. They were all infected with the Sigma virus, but actually some of them weren't even infected with the Sigma virus. They were just like, hey, you want this thing, but I'm not giving it to you, so you have to fight me for it. But like, normally when it's in the way I understood it, the boss rush was like, oh, they took the parts and recreated the enemy one more time for you. But it's like, all of these enemies weren't working together. Why is there a boss rush? Makes no sense.
You know, I never thought about that with the boss rushes. That like they are robots, so I guess they are just like Dr. Wily or Sigma or like whoever just kind of like picked up all the pieces and put them back together.
Yeah, like that's what I always assumed the boss rushes were. But
I never thought about
this one, they never had like actual dialogue or reason for having to fight a lot of the enemies. This is the first time in a Mega Man game I remember it's like, oh, go after these 4 enemies because they all have parts we need to make this gun that we need. And then go after these 4 because they all have parts we need to get the rocket going. But none of them had anything to do with the actual crisis of the game. They were just their own actual thing that you like. Some of them were like gun runners and shit. Like they were Mavericks, but they weren't doing anything to make the world worse. They were with what the crisis was going on in the game. It was just weird that like, oh, there's this boss rush with all these random Mavericks that Sigma decided to resurrect. It was just it made me laugh.
Yeah, man, I never thought about that.
Yeah. But yeah, I absolutely love X5. It is right now on my list. I have it under X1. I thought X1 was really good, but I'm tempted to put it up above X5 or above X1. Some people came to me were telling me that like X5, 6, and 7 were some of the hardest games. I don't think X5 was all that hard, but it wasn't easy either. It had like a decent level of difficulty to it. And it was an absolutely fun game to play. There was even a sequence I didn't do because there was 2 paths that you can go in the level. One of them was jumping on platforms, avoiding a dragon that was coming behind you, in reference to Mega Man 2. I'm trying to remember like if there was any other major references that you guys would have gotten, but I don't think there were. But it was so good. I loved it. Like, I wanted to go back and play it again after I beat it. I was like, this is just so good.
Well, why don't you?
Because I have to do X6 next week. And I have other games to play. And I don't like speedrunning. So after about 2 runs of playing that game, I'll be bored of it.
Just pretend like you forgot you played it this past week and play it again on Monday.
I should. And then just only use 0 this time. Or get get the 0 ending instead of the X ending. Which I could just load the game up and get the 0 ending. The only thing I can't do is load the game up and get the bad ending. The only way to do that is to fail the game. Fail the timer, which, if you don't know the boss order, is possible. But if you know the boss order, it's impossible to fail the timer.
I'm sure you could still fail it if you tried.
Yeah, if you tried to fail it. You could. You would just have to die, get a game over, and go to stage select after every death 15 times. Or after every game over, so 15 times you would have to go back to stage select.
Which that's fine.
Yeah.
You ready to move along?
Yeah.
Hey, so last thing we have is Awesome Games Done Quick is happening right now. Literally, as we speak, they're running Pokemon Yellow.
Oh, interesting.
Any % glitchless. They're up to Nugget Bridge.
So pretty early on then.
Yeah, it's 31 minutes in, which I didn't realize. For some reason, I thought Nidoran was less common in yellow and red, but I guess it's not, and they knew how to manipulate to get that Nidoran early on still. So for anyone that doesn't know, in at least in Pokemon Blue and I guess in Yellow also, when they start the game, they get a Nidoran immediately, and it involves like a hard reset and walking a very specific path, and you get a Nidoran, a male Nidoran with almost perfect stats, and then they use that Pokemon the whole run. It's you usually evolve it into Nidoking before you leave Mount Moon. So basically, you get a Moonstone and almost immediately evolve it.
Okay.
But apparently, Yellow, you do pretty much the same thing. I don't know what they're saying when they're like describing it because I just have the video playing, but it's neat. But it looks like they're already at $732,000 raised, so that's not bad. It's for the Prevent Cancer Foundation this year. But there were in the first half of the week there were a couple of interesting runs they did that I just wanted to mention. They did a Super Mario Galaxy 2 race on Sunday, I believe it was, or Monday. My days are all wacky now. Might have been Monday. And one of the people running the race actually got the world record during the race.
Always cool when it happens during GDQ because they're usually not going for like world record paces because oftentimes in things, whatever world record has some trick that's incredibly difficult and usually doesn't go well with something being done in a marathon.
Exactly. Or like if you ever watched like these guys and ladies run stuff like on their streams, they reset constantly. Like if they make like a mistake and they know they're not even going to get their player best, they just reset and like they do it again. And like they can't do that during the marathon. It's just run the marathon. Like if something goes wrong, just fucking try and figure it out and keep going. So yeah, but the guy that hit it, he was already the world record holder, but he broke his world record for that category by
Nice.
like 2 seconds too. So like for like where they're at with it, like 2 seconds is like a big deal to have like beat his record during a fucking race. Like it's wild. And I want to say he was at least 2 or 3 minutes faster than the other 3 people he was running against. And 2 of them were in the top 10 on the leaderboards as well. So like, 4 people that like legitimately know how to run that game really well. It was a fun run to watch because Mario Galaxy 2 was one I had never actually played. And it wasn't part of that the 3D Mario thing from a couple of years ago. So like I've just never really seen Galaxy 2.
I always wondered why it was never part of that.
Because Nintendo's fucking weird. We all know that.
Yeah.
And then there was also a Cuphead 300% expert run. So 300% includes all of the DLC stuff as well. I knew that game was hard, but I knew it was hard on like normal mode. Watching somebody play it on expert mode is fucking insane. Like there's just shit everywhere, and somehow these guys are able to just like fucking parry and dodge and not get hit like at all, unless it's a situation where they're meant to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Miles Morales speedrun, which I know they've done Spider-Man a couple of times. I had just never seen it. Both of you guys played at least Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, I played both.
Drew, did you play Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I don't remember if I played the first one and if I only played Miles Morales.
Okay, so I mean, either way, you might actually have a better understanding. So when you web swing, you go pretty quick. Like you can get from like one end of the city to the other. They have some weird broken movement technique they do where they basically bunny hop down the road. That like doubles their speed. It's the fucking craziest thing.
I believe it.
Like they like start to do a web swing and then I guess they like cancel it and then like just keep hitting the button to web swing and cancel out of it. And it just makes them do these little bunny hops, but it just flies them down the streets. And as long as nothing gets in their way, they just keep fucking going. And like stuff like that is just, it's weird because it's not like they were glitching anything. Like they weren't really exploiting anything. It was just, that's how the movement happened to work in the game if you cancel out of it.
Well, that was like the Symphony of the Night run where there were shield dashing.
Yeah.
They find these weird, if you do this thing and this thing, the speed just breaks.
Yeah. Symphony of the Night, it's wild that like they're still finding things in that game that are like ways to break it more to be able to get through more bits of that game faster. 'Cause did you watch that whole run?
Which one?
The Symphony of the Night?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, so like the parts, I want to say it was in the later half of the game. It might have been during the Inverted Castle actually, where they like I know it couldn't have been because they were still using the wolf primarily. Where like as the wolf, they like set themselves up a certain way and like they would hit stairs a certain way and then transform, and then if they did it just right, it would clip them through the floor and they'd be able to just like run across like behind the screen basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like that. It's like, how do they figure that shit out?
Seriously. Well, and then the whole thing with skipping that cut scene at the beginning that lets them keep their gear the whole time.
Right,
and then just instantly melting bosses in like 3 hits. If
yeah,
that...
like that, and even so today, I didn't put this on the list, but there was a Final Fantasy VII speedrun, like the original, like the PS1 Final Fantasy VII. It still took 7 hours, but listening to them like explain some of the stuff they have to do, like if they time things right and like transition screens at a specific second of the in-game time, it like resets their like threat meter, which controls how frequently you're likely to get random encounters. So they can like force themselves to not get random encounters for so long. They do something that lets them completely skip over Calm. So
wow.
Yeah, they go right from Midgar to Junyan. They go in. I was at work, so I didn't actually get to hear how they did everything. But they go right to the Chocobo farm, and then they're able to catch a Chocobo without needing greens or anything. And this is one of those situations where like they do some weird manip when they leave, so that the Chocobo and the 2 enemies actually spawn facing the other way, so that you get preemptive strike. And then they take out the 2 enemies right away, and then get the Chocobo. And because you're not supposed to be able to do it at that point, if you get off the Chocobo at a certain spot on the other side of the swamp, it won't run away. So they're able to go into the cave to trigger that cutscene where they find the serpent on the spiked through the tree, and do a couple other small things in that area, then come back out and use the Chocobo to basically make the game think that Cloud is on a different elevation, so that he can just pass over the mountains and they never go through the cave at all. And then once you're over the mountains, you can just go right to Junyan and start doing all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird to watch some of that stuff. And at the end of the game, they had like a bonus incentive where, and I don't know how they set this up because I wasn't watching at this point, but they somehow go into the water where Emerald Weapon is and control Emerald Weapon. Like the dude was just swimming around the bottom of the water in 7 as Emerald Weapon.
Weird.
Yeah, it was like I want to go back when that one eventually gets thrown onto to YouTube and like see how that part actually worked out. Because it was like a $15,000 incentive that they met like late in the run, but I had to like walk away to do something at my client, so I didn't hear what they were talking about for the setup. And then the last run that like I saw that was just like weird to watch. They did a portal run. It was called the Airboat Percent. So there's an item, or not an item, but there's like a thing in the game that looks like one of those like swamp airboats, like the things they would like the fan boats that would go across like bayous and stuff in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
That it looks like it was probably in Portal, like when you go behind the scenes of Portal, like after you kind of escape the testing sequence. It looks like it's from there, but in the PC version, you can like open up console and like auto spawn these things. And there's a route for that game where you never use the portal gun. You get through the whole game spawning these airboats and using them in like weird ways to like catapult yourself up on things where normally you would have used the portal gun to get up to. And yeah, it was cool. I like when they do the goofy runs like that. Like watching somebody play like Spider-Man really, really well is fun, but like watching them just like take a game and just come up with like the most goofy scenario to play it in and then like play it really well in that goofy ass scenario is just, it's a lot of fun.
Agreed.
Yeah. And Rich is quiet because he hates all of this. He thinks it's dumb. He thinks it's a waste of time.
I just don't find I don't find glitch speedruns entertaining. I don't.
I mean, the glitch ones aren't, but like 90% of what they do at GDQ is glitchless. The most they do is like they do like these weird things like this airboat run where like they're not really glitching per se. They're like it still took like an hour and a half to run the game, but they basically ran it without any portals.
I mean, but like they had to go into the console and mod the game basically. Like they went into creator commands shit. Like that to me it's a glitch. Like you're glitching.
That's not a glitch. That's an
but
exploit.
Like you're not playing the game is what I'm saying. You're sitting there, you're exploiting the command console. That's not playing the game. That is not entertaining to me. I want to see you play the game really fast. If you're going to play the game really fast, play the game really fast. Show me how fast you can beat this game.
That's what most of them are. You get very aggressive about it, man.
No, I don't. It's just you.
I was joking because you went quiet.
No. I knew what you were trying to say about that's not a glitch. It's like I knew what I was trying to say. You knew what I was trying to say, but you were like, well, that's not a glitch. You're not playing the game.
Because you're talking about two different things, and they were playing the game. Don't say they're not playing the game. They're not playing the game you want them to.
They're not a Taz. They're playing the game.
They're not playing the game that was created to play the game. They are exploiting the game to do their own thing. And to me, I'm just like, this is not. No, I don't care. Like, show me how fast you can beat the game that was created, not how fast you can beat the game by breaking the game.
So, I mean, to be fair, I understand what you're saying. In like this case, like in this run, people that run that particular category usually have like in the top 10 for like the normal category. So that's probably fucking boring for them at this point. So like they do stuff like this where like they have to get through the game without being able to use the portal gun. And like doing that in, like I said, I think it was like an hour. Like I couldn't beat the first portal with the portal gun in an hour.
I don't know what so I'm looking at the schedule. I think the like estimate for the boat percent was 22 minutes.
Oh god, was it really that quick?
Yeah, 22
I thought they played
minutes
for like
and 30
an hour.
seconds is the estimate for the airboat percent.
Because I'm sure they're also doing other exploits within that to cut the game down. And skipping sequences and skipping...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
what
sure. Speedrunning is all about, skipping sequences. Have either of you ever played Fallout 3? I know you've both played Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah, I've played the fuck out of Fallout 3.
So, I just saw this because I was looking at the schedule. 2 runs after that Portal run, they did a Fallout 3 all-quest run. So they just have to complete every quest. Like, doesn't matter what order they do it in, doesn't matter about anything else, just all the quests in the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's apparently one quest where like a kid gives it to you from what they were explaining.
Yep.
But the kid doesn't always spawn in like the same place or at all if you're not doing it like exactly as the game intended. So they did all this setup for this kid to spawn right, and then it didn't. And the guy's like, well, fuck. And he's like, it's all right though. We have a backup for this. And this was another like console thing, but like they just know the console command for like that specific NPC's like code or whatever, that they just warp right to the NPC. It was very funny because it was basically like they spawned on top of this kid and he just immediately started giving them the quests.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's just like, how did somebody figure that out? Like, how did you figure out that this kid wouldn't always spawn there and then figure out how to get you to like warp to him if they don't spawn?
Did they do the thing where if they break their legs and like save and quit at the same time, it actually increased their walk speed?
I think so, because they did something that made them move quicker, and then said something like if they did something else, it would break that and they'd have to do it again.
Okay. Yeah, I was watching, I forget if it was last year or the year before, but someone recently did a speed run of Fallout 1, 2, 3, and 4 all in a row. And I was watching a bunch of I remember really paying attention to the 3. And that was one of the first things they do is, okay, get outside and jump off this cliff until I break my legs right.
Yeah, like stuff like the fact that like somebody figured that out is just like that. I find that interesting. Like, especially if they have like a good commentator who's like explaining as they go, like what's going on.
Yeah,
like
I mean, finding out the glitches is interesting, but watching people do it to get a record, to me, is not.
Why?
Because then it's not impressive to me. I shared that Elden Ring speedrun where they beat the game in like 4 minutes or whatever. Not even. And to me, I'm just like, great, you broke the game. And yeah, I'm sure it took you time to figure out how to break the game to beat the game. But to watch you beat the game that way is not impressive. It's just boring. It's just like, oh, it's interesting that you found this, but you did something, but you didn't do anything. You just jumped differently.
So, to be fair, though, I didn't watch that Elden Ring. 9 times out of 10 for those sorts of things, though, it's not just like they didn't do anything, they just jumped differently. It is a super specific, like, frame-perfect thing they do, and usually a series of them leading up to it that, like, sets different, like, RNG tables correctly and does all sorts of weird stuff in the back end that, like, none of us could do without hundreds of hours of practice.
So, the Elden Ring speedrun, they jumped backwards at a point or something like that, which took them to somewhere, which then they did it again somewhere else, which took them to somewhere, and then it took them to the end of the game, where then they jumped backwards again 2 more times, and it caused the arena to despawn, causing the enemies that they were supposed to fight to fall and die. And it's like, alright, game over.
That's funny.
I'm like, I'm just like, wow, this is dumb.
I don't know, like, hard disagree, because, like Cobb said, it's so specific. It's not, and like I said in the chat that day, it's not like a thing that randomly happens. They make it happen.
But it is.
It's not, though.
The first time it happens, it is a thing that randomly happens. They randomly figured out that this is how you could exploit something and glitch something. And then they figured out how to do that random thing to be able to do it. And now, once everyone has announced how to do this glitch, then everyone does this glitch, and it's something, yes, that they can do, that everyone can do, that they've practiced to do, but it's everyone's doing it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just boring to me. Like, I'd rather watch somebody die 50 to 60 times fighting Melania than watch somebody break a game to get to the very end and despawn the world so that the bosses fall to their death.
Yeah, see, I like the breaking the game more than watching somebody do the same thing over and over again.
Because, like, I mean, I know how difficult Melania was. It took me over 100 tries and I still couldn't kill her myself. I had somebody come in and kill her for me. Like, she's a fucking hard fight. That is more interesting to me, to watch somebody fight this fucking hard-ass boss and defeat the boss. And to watch somebody play through the game and fight all the hard bosses while they're playing through the game as quickly as they can, or not as quickly as they can, and just experiencing the game. I'd much rather just watch somebody experience the game than be like, oh, I have to get here really quick and get to a certain point at a certain time, and, oh, well, I didn't get to that point in that time, so I'm going to reset and do it all over again. No, just play the fucking game. Who cares?
Well, you also like watching streams, which, like, I don't. Like, if I'm watching a stream, like, I want it to be for a specific thing. And, like, to be fair, I do not watch, like, speedrunners, like, on their own streams because, yeah, you are right. Like, people, like watching them, like, play for, like, 40 minutes and then, like, miss a thing and just reset and do it again, like, that is not entertaining. Watching it in the marathon setting where there is no resetting. Like, if they make a mistake, they have to just course correct and keep going. And particularly if they have, like, good people doing the commentary for them, or if they're doing commentary and, like, they're good at it, like, they're explaining what they're doing the whole way, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I like. Like, you are 100% correct. Watching a person sit there and just, you know, play the first 15 minutes of a game over and over and over again, that's fucking boring. Like, because you're not getting anything out of that. Like, you're not understanding what they're doing. You don't really, like, there's no excitement to that. But, like, watching, like, a race or something like that where they're speedrunning it and, like, the dude happens to get, like, the world record, that's fucking cool. That is fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Maybe it also has, like, I just have zero interest in me doing speedrunning, so I have zero interest in watching other.
I mean, I have zero interest in speedrunning. I think it's insanely awesome to watch people be incredibly good at something. I don't want to watch someone fail at a boss 60 times. I don't, like, no. That seems painful to watch. I don't want to watch someone be bad at a thing that I could just be bad at.
I want to watch somebody succeed in a thing that they failed in a million times. And that time they finally succeed, and that feeling of it, like, oh my god, I finally did it. That is video games to me in general, is I'm doing a thing and I'm not doing it very well, so now I gotta learn to do it better, and oh my god, I finally did it, and that feeling of finally doing it. But for me to sit here and watch somebody start a game from the very beginning and beat it in 5 to 10 minutes or less, in any form, it's just like, that is not really the thing that interests me. The thing that interests me is them finding the hard parts in the game and completing those games, or getting that feeling of satisfaction of, I finally beat this boss that I've never beaten before, or I finally did this thing that I never did before in this game.
You see, and it's all personal preference. Like, you're not wrong, Rich. It's just you have a different, preference. I could care less if somebody, succeeds at something that they tried at a million times. I do not give a fuck if somebody finally beat Melania, whatever her name is.
Those are two different characters.
Are there two characters with that same name in that game?
There's a Melania and a Melania, yes. 100%.
That's fucking dumb.
Alright, and all your complaints about Elden Ring being not Game of the Year, that's a valid fuck that game
Yeah,
complaint.
why did you never tell us that? We would have all been on your side.
We would have been on your side if we knew there were two characters with the same name pronounced differently.
Hold on, there's also, continue your thing. I need to figure out the name of the other character real quick.
Listen, if you're telling me if there's a third character with a similar name, now I'm back in Elden Ring Game of the Year.
90% of the monsters have the starting initial of G, R, or M. So.
Oh, fuck that game entirely now. That did not. You're right. That did not deserve to be in anyone's top 10 list. That man can't.
I don't know. Maybe
that man hasn't been able to finish a book in a decade, or the next book. He's written 4 other books, but fuck that. But yeah, if a streamer was playing that against one of those bosses for a week, and they were just hour after hour doing it, and they finally did it, I would have been fucking checked out long ago and not given a fuck. But watching somebody on these marathons where they happen to nail the super hard frame perfect trick on the first or second try, that's exciting, because that is a different type of skill, and it's one that I definitely can't fucking do.
Mm-hmm.
There was a I think it was Ratchet and Clank yesterday, and there's a thing you can do in that game where you basically set something about you're waiting for a bus essentially, but you can get control of Ratchet during it, and it lets you just clip through everything, so you can go collect a bunch of stuff quickly, but you have a finite amount of time to do it. So you have to hit this and then take off to get it all done before the game essentially catches up with itself and loads you into the thing that's going to take you away. And I think that's interesting. It's somebody beating a fucking boss, that's whatever. Anyone can beat a boss. Rich, you beat the boss, right?
Of what?
Of a game. You beat a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Fuck that.
So in Elden Ring, you have your guide, basically. She bestows upon the party to be able to use the Sites of Grace. You met her, Cobb. Her name is Melina. Melina.
Yeah, isn't she the daughter of Shao Kahn?
Sure. I know you're doing a Mortal Kombat reference.
Hey, he got there.
Yeah, I got there for a second. Then there is a character, an NPC that you find that has a quest line. Her name is Millicent. She's missing an arm, and she's infected with the Scarlet Rot. She also uses a power, or an attack, called the Waterfowl Dance, which is the same attack that Melania, the woman you fight, has, but is not Millicent. And Melania also is missing an arm, and also is infected with the Scarlet Rot.
So are you sure they're not the same person?
They're not the same person, because you encounter Millicent somewhere else in the same area that you encounter Melania, and she asks you to do a different quest fighting her sisters.
Are they two different arms?
No, it's the same arm.
Okay, never mind. I was thinking maybe they were the same person, and the lore just didn't dive into it.
So I will say, and I'm gonna send you a message, the only reason I would support at all Elden Ring being a Game of the Year for 2022, only reason is for this character right here I'm sending you guys, Muriel Pastor of Vals.
Oh, I've seen Turtle Pope.
But for 4 of the NPCs in the game that I just talked about. 3 of them, all 4 of them, M names. It's, most of them, alright, most of the important ones have an M, an R, or a G as their starting name. Unless you're counting the title merchant as their part of their name, like Merchant Kale. Like, you wouldn't count merchant.
Huh.
Sorcerer Rogier is a major character that you encounter with a quest line.
See, that's
Goranok, Beast Clergyman. He is a major character with a storyline.
So all I'm hearing is, like, he was very egotistical when writing this game.
Yeah. Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. It's Margot, Shriveled Margot. One of the bosses you fight is Margot. Like, the first boss you fight is Margot. Like, most of the enemies in that, or most of the bosses and NPCs in this game have a G, an R, or an M name. That's how egotistical he was. It's just like, it's one of, I mean, I'm not gonna say the NPC names are why I don't think the game deserved to be Game of the Year. But like, yeah, there's just a lot about this game that's just like, yeah, to me it didn't deserve it. But yeah, Millennia, Millicent, Melina, 3 different characters. 2 of them are exactly the same.
Yeah, that's stupid. That is very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Elden Ring, worst game ever.
Thank you.
It's decided.
No, it's not the worst game ever, but...
Nope, worst game ever.
Doesn't deserve to be the best game of 2020.
No, the worst game ever. I'm sticking to my guns here. Worst game ever.
I'll let you, because I know it has 3D combat, so you don't like it.
Yeah, I tried it.
I know.
It was boring.
Oh, I know.
You're like, it was boring. I played it for 60 hours.
Hold on. Let me check. I think it was like close to 90. 93.1 hours.
Man, you should have just learned how to beat it in 4 minutes.
That's true. You could have saved yourself a whole lot of time and not gotten so frustrated when you fucked up the ending.
If I learned how to beat it in 4 minutes, I would think it was even worse. If I beat it in 4 minutes instead of 93 hours. Because then I would have wasted $70 on a 4-minute game.
But that's even better.
No. That's $70 for a 4-minute game. That's, what, $20 a minute? No, I know that's not $20 a minute.
Optimal money and time spent.
No.
Optimal. But speaking of optimal, I think this is the optimal length for the show, unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about.
No, that's about it.
Drew, anything?
Nope.
Did you win your Super Bowl?
No, I was not in it. I've only made it twice in the 24 years I've been in this league.
Wow, way to be terrible
both
at it.
Times.
You're like the Detroit Lions of PFL.
Ironically, one of the teams in it was the Detroit Lions. My brother was the Detroit Lions, and he lost to the Seattle Seahawks.
I guess
it was a good game, though.
Wait, who was worse this season? Chicago or Detroit?
Oh, the Bears, by far.
Okay,
the Bears have the number 1 pick. The Lions almost made the playoffs.
No, I thought the Bears missed the number 1 pick.
No, they got it because Houston is the team that blew getting the number 1 pick by winning in the last game of the season.
Okay. I thought I saw that, like, Chicago just lost out on it by winning or something like that.
No, it was Houston lost out by winning, giving it to Chicago.
Nice. Poor Chicago. They used to have a good hockey team.
Yeah, now they have the worst hockey team.
Yeah. How's their baseball team?
Which one?
Oh, that's right. So, funny thing, while the Cubs are the one that you probably are more synonymous with Chicago, in my fucking head, I'm just like, well, it's the White Sox. Like,
the White Sox, I'm pretty sure, were really bad last year. Let's see. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, no, that's right. That's the weird statistic. I think in the last 20 years, the White Sox are an exact 500 team. They've won exactly the same number of games as they've lost, because they went 81-81 last year.
Nice.
But, yeah, like, over the last, 20 years or something, they're, whatever 81 times 20, it's, ridiculous how average the White Sox have been. And the Cubs were 74-88, so neither of them were very good.
Yeah, Chicago, get your shit together. You're the Windy City. Come on. Your fucking airport has, fucking slip covers that just automatically cover the toilet seats. What are you doing? Anyway, guess that'll wrap it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I lost the document with the timestamps, guys.
Oh no.
That's why I'm...
Is that when you erased everything on the...
No, I literally couldn't find the window with the tab because I had a different tab open when I minimized the window.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just it was a bad day. It was just a bad day. But I found it. I'm typing in the time now, and yeah. So next week we're going to talk about Taskmaster Champion of Champions for our book club. I haven't watched it yet, so that should be interesting. But other than that, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the fun stuff. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of that helps a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @one_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us emails to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what's your stream?
Twitch.tv/b_walnuts. Video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Join me for SIFU, Mega Man X, and probably Monster Hunter.
Now, when are you going to start doing some like nice, chill puzzle stream?
I have been wanting to build a Lego set.
Maybe a Gunpla?
I need better cameras or more cameras to do that.
Nah, it's fine. You just point your camera at your fucking hands. It'll be fine.
No, I would want to have like a face cam, and then like I have ideas for it, but mostly I would need a tripod to put my phone on, to use my phone as the camera for the building of whatever I'm building, and then to find where the best spot would be to put it so that you guys could see what I'm doing, which would probably be behind me and over my head looking down, but I have to figure all that out.
Oh, you know what you should get? You should just get like a fucking headband and put your fucking your phone in that.
Yeah.
This way it's like first person.
I could just get a GoPro. I could borrow a GoPro and do that.
Yeah, there you go. Problem solved, man.
But no, it has been something I want to do, just to chill, like just chatting while building a Lego set or something. I want to start doing longer streams on Sundays, like 6 to 8 hour streams on Sundays. But it's just these past few Sundays have been rough for me to be able to do stuff.
Dude, how about like a book stream? Like you read to your viewers for like 2 hours.
That's also been like, oh, I wonder if I were to do this. But it would be the April Fool's just reading, where I would just be reading to myself.
No, you got to read out loud.
No, there was an April Fool's Twitch.
Yeah, it was one of the categories,
which was like just reading, and they were just reading themselves or whatever.
Yeah, like some people did that and had thousands of viewers. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So I have thought about like reading something, but like I worry about reading, because I worry about like getting like copyright shit on for reading a book.
You know, I think
don't really know how that would work.
So I think you would only necessarily get copyright strike if you saved it and like put it up on YouTube. If you just did it on your Twitch stream and then like had the VOD expire quickly, you'd probably be fine.
It expires in like 45 days.
Oh, can you not go in and like manually expire stuff quicker?
I mean, I probably could delete a VOD. I don't know.
Anyway,
I've never tried.
That's going to do it. We shall return next week with something else to talk about. So thank you for listening. Bye.
See yous.
Bye.